Something about a big bowl of spicy ramen just kind of gets me, and is, in my opinion, the ultimate guilty pleasure meal. This here is one of my favorites, the chicken carbonara Buldak ramen. The way I make it here is, in my opinion, the best way to make it. First, I like to add the extra goodies. Here I'm adding some frozen dumplings and Korean rice cakes. You don't have to add them, but I think it really adds to the meal itself. I like to add the rice cakes and the dumplings right away, as when the water starts to boil, usually the rice cakes and dumplings are done cooking, so the timing just kind of works out perfectly. These dumplings are from Trader Joe's. I like the pork ones because the chicken ones have a funky texture that I don't love, and the rice cakes are just from a local Asian market. Go ahead and grab an egg and some Japanese mayo. Side note, I paid $6 for a dozen eggs today and almost crashed out in Walmart. You only need the yolk of the egg, and I hope for your sake that you're better at separating the yolk than I am. Next, you can start adding everything else. I do like to add all of the hot sauce because I love the extra spice. However, my stomach will certainly punish me for this later. Add the powder and a good amount of that Japanese mayo on top. Measurements really don't matter with this, so just add about how much I am or how much you want. Next, we're going to take a whisk and mix all that together until it looks like a paste, and this is going to be the base for our sauce. We can go ahead and set that aside until our water is starting to boil. Make sure that you stir the water with the rice cakes and dumplings every once in a while because it really sucks cleaning the stuck food off the bottom of these pans. While we're waiting for that water to boil, I think it is a great time to talk to y'all about Buldak ramen itself. Buldak ramen is made by a Korean company named Samyang Foods, which was founded in 1961 by Chung Jun-yoon. Their first product was a chicken-flavored noodle and was very cheap, making it a necessity for post-war Koreans trying to rebuild. In 1963, the noodles were made spicy to appeal more to Koreans after suggestion from President Park Chung-hee. By the 1970s, Samyang was huge, holding a massive market share and becoming one of Korea's largest companies. Things began to spiral for the company, however, after a huge scandal broke out in 1989, where an anonymous informant told authorities that Samyang was cooking its noodles in non-food grade beef fat. This led consumers to stop buying Samyang's products and left the company in disrepair. The allegations, however, turned out to be false, and by 1997, the company was able to clear its name, but just in time for the Asian financial crisis. The company struggled for years, trying to repair their debts and do things by the book. In 2010, Chun's daughter-in-law, Kim Jung-soo, was eating lunch where she was served a fiery hot, spicy, not temperature hot, chicken noodle dish called Buldak, where she saw people fanning their tongues with the spice and loving it. She immediately thought of turning this into a product. As the food scientists were making it, she kept turning them back and telling them to make it spicier and spicier. When it eventually went into market in 2012, it seemed like a failure. The feedback wasn't very good and everybody said it was too spicy. However, in 2014, thanks to the YouTube Fire Noodles Challenge, Buldak noodles were finally shown in the spotlight. Sales and exports began to grow exponentially. Buldak is now a huge success and found everywhere. I remember growing up when in the Walmart aisles, the only ramen you could find were the nasty Maruchan chicken ramen. But now they are chocked full of ramen from all over and always stocked on various types of Buldak. My first time eating Buldak ramen was actually in 2019, where I decided it would be a great idea to impress my high school girlfriend by going into the Asian market and asking for the spiciest ramen they carried. She quickly showed me to the 2 times hot Buldak noodles, and I quickly embarrassed myself after hardly getting through about a quarter of the bowl. Buldak again seemed to gain popularity on TikTok, especially with the chicken carbonara that I'm making in this video. I will admit that I found my method of making this ramen on TikTok, and I just kind of rolled with it because I loved it so much. It has now become my favorite guilty pleasure meal and a staple in my ramen drawer. Thank you to Max Kim from the LA Times for writing the article that I got this information from. I will link it down in the description if anybody wants to check it out for themselves. Now it looks like we're about ready to add our noodles to the boiling water. These noodles cook really fast, so make sure you're watching them because they aren't the greatest when they're overcooked and mushy. I like them just a little chewy and springy. They only took me around 4 minutes to cook. Once they are cooked to your liking, add a ladleful of water into your paste mixture and stir that really well to make a broth. Don't add too much water. It isn't a soup, rather it's a sauce that your noodles are sitting in. But also, don't be too conservative when adding the water. You won't mess it up by adding a little too much. Next, you're going to drain the noodles with all the goodies and add them straight to your bowl. Mix it up super well to incorporate the sauce with the noodles. Sometimes when I eat it, I like to bite the dumpling in half and let the sauce fill the dumpling. Here's the finished product. I like to drink a beer with my ramen because quite honestly I can't think of a meal that isn't better with the beer. And yes, it is a Japanese beer brewed in the US served with Korean ramen. Get over it. I really hope that you all enjoyed this video. Go cook some delicious food and tell some incredible stories. Thank you all so much for watching.